Hmm. Hmm.
So very good morning to all. Uh, we'll just revise what we have covered in the previous session. So in the previous session, we've just started with this introduction to research, and the part one that we have discussed up to the different types of research. Then in today's session, we are going to see the research process as well as the difference between the science and technology. Okay. So what we have covered in the last session is all about what is a research. Okay, it's like articulating the problem, formulating the hypothesis, collecting the facts, right, in order to reach some conclusion, right? So just we need some kind of problem statements. At least we're formulating some assumptions, we're formulating some hypothesis. Hypothesis means, like I discussed in the last session, it is all about your assumptions, what assumptions you are making based on the problems that you have. Then sorry, collecting the facts. Just here we are generally focusing on data collections, primary data collection and secondary data collection. Okay, primary generally based on the questionnaires, the interviews that you are taking from the participants, and secondary data generally it is focusing on the books or the internet from with different resources from where you're collecting the data. And at the end, we're just analyzing that data, and based on that analysis, we're making some conclusions and recommendations. Right? Then, what is the objective of research? Like, what are the different objectives? Why we are doing the research? So basically, the objective is to discover new facts. Right? We have to test that facts, verify that facts, analyze different processes to identify cause and effects, then develop some scientific tools, concept, theories. See, research is doesn't means only just data collection and some hypothesis and all that. Obviously we require some tools to be developed, some experimental analysis that can be help to develop new things, innovative things. Okay, then to overcome or solve the problems occurring in our day-to-day life. Like I said, it's not only related to technology and everything. Even day-to-day problems like some social type of research is also there, right? And if we collect the data related to some problem areas, like now in some let's say in some cities we have some kind of genuine problems are going on. So if you're collecting the data, based on the data, how you're going to analyze the reason for the problems, right? Identifying some important attributes. Based on that, what is the problem that what problems are occurring, and based on that, this particular research, the conclusion of that research will be very helpful for the further researchers or maybe some organizations to give the solution, practical solution for that. Okay, then what is the motivation in the research? Like I said, obviously we require some degree, right? If the degree will definitely motivates you to do some unsolved problems, some creative work, some motivational work. Okay, right, and it is like it gives you respect in the society also. Okay, so the different motivation is generally focuses on the degree, the research degree, that along with some benefits if you're getting, like some budgets, fundings, right? So based on that, that is the motivation for your research work. The significance of research generally, focuses on, let's say, solving the different problems in the area of technology, let's say food problems, water problems, right? It also, focused on the scientific and inductive thinking, right? And promotes the development of logical habits, thinking in organizations, right? Then it also helps, the government to take revise some policies based on the economic systems, right? Some operational and planning problems, right? So that, sorry. Then we have seen the different types of research. Okay, one types of research includes the descriptive and there are different types: descriptive and analytical. Okay, then fundamental and applied. Okay, so what are the differences in this type of research? Like I said, in the descriptive research, basically it attempts to determine, different describe what is actually the problem. For example, if you see the examining the fluctuations of Ethiopian international trade balance in 2021, sorry, in 2021. So here, what is the reason? Like what is the reason that what is the reason why? What is the reason of this fluctuations? Examining the fluctuations. So generally here we are focusing on what, and in analytical we are focusing on why, right? So explaining why why these things have been happen, why these things have been happen. So here in the examples, if you see explaining why and how this Ethiopian trade balance moves in the particular way, right? So here analytical research attempts to explain why, and here descriptive research generally attempts to explain what. Okay, so generally here survey methods, some comparative analysis, correlation methods, right, that we are using in the descriptive research. Then the another type that we have seen is fundamental. It is also called as a basic or pure research. Okay, so so what is this type of research is? Generally, fundamental research. I told you about, the general things, the formulation of the theory, theoretical understanding, some knowledge advancements in the knowledge, right? So finding the information that has broad base of application, some scientific gain of knowledge. Okay. So this natural phenomena of relating to pure mathematics is an example, right? Research studies concerning human behavior, right? I think I gave an example for human behavior through the technology, like, if you're browsing your website every time, so through this behavior, I can through this particular regular practice of your browsing the websites, I can identify your behavior also. So that is something you can say it's a basic research or the fundamental research. What is there in the applied research? We are applying the existing practical applications of science, or you can say technology, to give the solutions. So we are applying the existing things to the to give this to discover a new solution. Okay, so that is about the fundamental and applied research. Then another type is quantitative and qualitative research. So quantitative, like I said, it generally focuses, you have to just remember about the numbers, the set of numbers in quantitative. In qualitative, we have to just focus on, like, the quality of that particular product, or let's say whatever the data that you're collecting. So generally when you using the qualitative research, you have to just some kind of questions like I discussed in the last session also. If let's say, if what is the how you do justify your product is good or not. Okay, whether you are agreed, strongly agreed in that way, you can give this options, right? So it is an exploratory kind of things, right? You are not giving any numbers in the qualitative research, but in quantitative research you can give the some scaling values, 1 to 5, 1 may be low, 5 may be higher, right? In that way, 1 2 3 4 5, in that way you can provide the options for that quantitative research. Okay, So what is the benefit of quantitative research? Obviously, if you have numbers, that will be very useful to analyze the things properly using some mathematical and statistical techniques. But in case of qualitative research, right, we are just investigation. We are just um, we are just describing the solutions, right? We're describing the problems. Like after analysis, we're just identifying. We are just giving the recommendation based on some um, the options. The participant has what option. What participant has given the options. Right? I think I gave the example here explaining how digestion of food takes place in our body is a qualitative description. Okay, so whether it is proper, improper, in that way you can give options. But here, numbers are not involved in qualitative research. So I think I've discussed one more thing. Like I think some of you have asked the question, which research is very good, like that. So in the masters, I think one of the best research approaches that you people can follow is about the quantitative and qualitative research, which will very helpful for you to do proper analysis, right? That analysis, you can have different tools for analysis. You can use SPSS, Microsoft Excel, right? Some Google forms are there, right? In that way, you can prepare your questionnaires and give the proper analysis, right? So questionnaires can be prepared either by using both this type of quantitative, qualitative type of questions. That can be you can add, right? So generally, you can focus on this type of research, right? Then the other researches are like action research, explanatory research, exploratory, comparative research. Right? I think we have discussed these things. The fact findings means like how when you're taking the interviews, how you're taking the interviews to improve the quality, right? Generally, the fact findings generally when the data comes through the interview, when the discussions, right? How immediately you can take some actions based on that. That research is an action research. Explanatory is searching explanations for events and phenomena. For example, finding answers to the question why are things like that, why are like this, right? So you need to go for so much depth in case of explanatory research. Then exploratory research, getting more information on a topic, right? So exploratory means once you have a topic, let's say your topic is related to finding the uh, uh, let's say how many the use of learning management system to improve the e-learning, let's say to uh, to improve the e-learning, right? So maybe for based on that topic you can collect so many data based on that. Then comparative research, obtaining similarities, differences between events, methods, and techniques, right? So just like I gave an example of the last time for comparative research, comparative analysis of some two algorithms, comparative analysis of two techniques. Based on that, further research could be your innovative model, maybe your novel model, right? So that could be a comparative research. After comparison, you can prepare your own model also. So that is the comparative research. Existing techniques, methods, models, whatever are there that you have to compare, and based on that you have to give some conclusions, results, and that will be further. It can be extended to the new innovative model, new innovative technique, new innovative method, something like that. So that comparative research is also one of the good research type that can be used by the researchers, because existing things are now so many, right? People are doing so much research, they are creating their own models, right? So based on the your skills, like how you're going to collect, how you're collecting the information about that particular things, how you're comparing the things, and how you're producing your result, that will be really effective if you're doing some comparative analysis. And again, that will be effective in case of producing some novel models, novel things. Okay. So again, so my my personal view is like if you're doing some kind of research, better you go for some comparative thing. Maybe you can go for quantitative and qualitative type of research work. Okay. Then but it should have a flavor of some experimental things also. Like if you're doing the comparative means not only you have to compare, means just like similar difference between two research, it is not sufficient. Here you have to use some experiments also, right? As an IT, as an ICT students, right? You people have to do some kind of experimental analysis also, using some formulations, using some existing mathematical models. That will be an effective research, because these mathematics things and statistical things actually gives, some kind of some results which are very close, which are close to your the positive things that of a result, or positive thing of your research, right? So research doesn't means only positive things, maybe negative things. Negative things means maybe you're getting the success, maybe you're getting a failure, right? But it should not be like you're just focusing on the success things. 98% accuracy, 99% accuracy, it is not necessary, right? The thing that you have done for your research work, the data collection, the important information that you have collected after analysis, whatever the results that you are getting after experimental analysis, whatever the result that you're getting, it is not necessary that you may get a always a positive thing, always a good things. Maybe that result may have a some negative impact, negative things also, maybe some drawbacks also of that particular research, right? So but as you work for that particular project or research work, so you may have some results, some output you will definitely get, right? Right. So then these are the different types of research that we have saw. So next thing that we have to focus on the research process. Okay. So about the research process, like the first thing is always you have to select a topic and define a problem. Okay. Now selection of a topic and the problems are actually, you can say, it requires some criterias. Right? Some criterias like, um, the interest, like interest of a researcher, based on the interest of the researcher, right? Personally, researchers wants to enhance their skills in the specific area, right? And to get some knowledge and experience in that area, right? So for that, we require, researcher must have some, and understanding of some theoretical and conceptual and practical aspects of that area of interest. So the selection of this research topic and defining the problem generally requires some interest, right? uh, it should not be like chosen by somebody else. Like it should be, obviously it is the first thing that as a researcher you must choose your area of interest and choose the topic, right? Now in case if you require some help, you have to consult with your research supervisor of that. Let's say supervisor will give, obviously will suggest you some topic and will give you some broad area of that particular the problem. But it always starts from the researchers and his interest, his or her interest. Okay. And if for consultation you require a supervisor, right? Now finding the problem topics and problems, there are different ways of finding the research topic. Now as a master students, I think what I feel is you people now only decide what will be your research topic for the future. Okay. If you'll work on a specific domain, a specific area, this will be really helpful to focus on this in this particular area for the future, right? Maybe in future, this type of problem, if you'll solve this type of problems based on your research interest, that will be really benefited to you in your career. Okay. So just I'm just sharing my experience. One of my research areas, like before it was I worked on this software estimation techniques. There are different software estimation techniques. In fact, my research work is totally based on the research techniques, on the estimation techniques, right? So what I did, I read so many article research papers based on that estimation, what are the different estimation techniques, right? Then but how I got this motivation, right? Software estimation techniques, right? When you people are reading your so different so from different sources, when you're reading your books or ebooks or whatever things you're reading, you are basically focusing on the different areas of your IT or subjects, right? IT subjects. So like software engineering is a core area in your you can say in the IT and computer science. So if you read these things, obviously some point you will find that this why these things are really important. Why, like I thought, like why software estimation technique is really important, right? Because everything, like the completion of the project, the success of the project was totally dependent on the estimation technique, the different estimation. How you actually, in short, I want to tell you my research work. If you know the research, if you know the proper estimation, generally estimations, software estimations are done by project managers, right? Some high level management team. They're doing the estimation, right? And how they're doing the estimation, there are so many things, there are different parameters, attributes that they have to consider. Maybe they have to use some existing projects, previously completed projects. For that, they require some estimation, right? Maybe in the form of completion time, right? How much time this project will take to complete, how many people are required to complete that project, the number of resources are required to complete that project. So they have to produce this estimation to the customers. Customers means their clients to whom they are developing the software. So when I was reading these things, I found this topic is really interesting, right? Then I decided, of course, I'll go through this particular topic, right? Because it is a genuine problem in the IT industries that most of the projects are failed because of the software estimations, improper software estimations. That's why I chose that topic for my research work, right? Later on, when I explored this area, I found very interesting things. The industries are using so many advanced techniques for estimation, right? Exist new updated softwares they are using for estimation, right? In fact, the changes from some years in between some period, the failure rate of the projects have been reduced, right? So what I thought is, like, you people must have an interest. You select a specific topic, research topic, and find out the problems. Not related to, like, just I chose my area as a software engineer. So you can have so many areas, image processing, right? You may have a machine learning, data mining. These are the different areas from in which, when you go through with all these particular courses, you'll find somewhere some problems are very genuine problems that has not been that much focused in this current scenario. You can choose that particular topic, right, related to specific area, right? Maybe in the, now see, machine learning, it is not like when you discuss with your colleague or your peer that we'll do in machine learning, it is not like that. It is up to your interest, purely interest, right? Then obviously, as a research supervisor, he'll definitely motivate you. He'll provide you some sources from where you can collect the information, where you'll find the good resources, right? So uh, that is what the first step of the research process is, right? Then some of the things that you have to remember while selection of research topic and the problem, defining the problem, you have to state the problem in the questionnaire form. Okay, just like I gave my example, software estimation techniques, right? So how I've first thing what I did, I prepared the questionnaire after reading so many research papers. What are the problems that industries are facing, right? So I prepared one questionnaire, right? And it questionnaire consists of all the qualitative and quantitative type of questions. Okay. Then specify the problem in the detail and precise term. So my problem, like we have to justify that why this problem has occurred, right? So like I said, you have to show some graphical terms, like from 1999 to 2019. These are the up downs in the project development, right? So why these problems have been come because of poor estimations in the software industries, right? So you have to specify the problem precisely. Then list the assumptions made. You have to specify your hypothesis, right? You have to say, like, yes, projects are failed due to inappropriate project management, right? Projects are success because the team was good, right? In that we have to make some assumptions. We have to give some hypothesis. Remove the ambiguities. in the statement of the problem. So it should not be, ambiguous. It should be clear and concise. The problem should be very, simple and easy to understand. It should not be ambiguous, means we should not say the same thing again and again. Okay, the problem statement should not repetitive. Okay, then examine the feasibility of a particular solution. Yes, feasibility means obviously you have to focus on the feasibility, means examine the feasibility means the problem must have some solution, right? Must have some conclusion, some recommendation. You have to end somewhere your research work. So feasibility could be anything, technicality, operational, right? Maybe in terms of financial things and all these things. So all this feasibility, considering all this feasibility, you must have some solution. Defining the problem is more important than solutions, right? So obviously if you have problems, so what was my solution for my research work? What I was thinking, if I'll do the research work to identify, if I learn all these estimation techniques properly, I can give a proper solution or recommendations, or maybe based on my research work, I can provide a proper new existing a new novel estimation technique to the small scale organizations, right? See what during my research, what I found, those were very big companies, very very renowned companies like Infosys and all these companies. They have their own good estimation models, right? But what about the small scale companies? Those are new startups and new companies. They don't know this estimation techniques. So I provided some, based on my research, I provided some kind of solution to these small scale organizations. Okay. So this is the first step. Then second step is what? Second process is what? Is your literature survey. I think this thing I've already discussed in the previous session also, from where you're collecting the record data, right? So from the books, from the current articles, from the existing you can say some conferences, some books, some published journals, right? Some collections of from the supervisors. There's so many ways from where you're going to collect the data, right? So literature survey, then how to write this literature survey and all these things, that I'll explain you in the coming chapters. Because in literature survey you have to focus on how to write a proper literature survey in your research, in the research thesis, right? In the master thesis, that I'll explain when this topic we'll see in the coming chapters. Okay, one of the chapter is there like literature writing, and that will definitely see how to write a proper literature review. Okay. Yes, so what I was thinking about is what I was telling about the sources of literature survey. So there are different sources from where you are collecting the data. The important thing about literature survey that I want to discuss for your research work is identify the uh, recent data. Like recent data means what? Like for example, you are doing the research in 2021, right? 2021. But if you'll read the books which are very outdated, very means like outdated means very old. Let's say 1960, we are reading 40 years old book, right? What is the use of that? There is no use of that, right? If you'll read last 3-4 years research materials, research books, ebooks, right, which will give you good, you know, which will give you good data about your current research work. That things you have to use. The recent research works, you have to recent research works or books or publications, the articles that you have to use. Okay. See, generally the conferences, workshops, when you'll attend any conference or workshops, there's always you'll get a good ideas about for your work. Okay. So recent conferences, workshops will definitely give you, attending by this conference workshop will definitely give you good guidance for your future work, for your research work. Okay. So here important thing is not collecting the data, but collecting the data of the current research. Okay, current scenario. Okay, if you'll choose very old, if you'll read old articles, old journals, almost so many people have already worked on that, and if you're doing the same thing again and again, no use of it. Okay, so just focus on last 3-4 years, max to max last 5 years data. Okay, last 5 years research books or topics, books or whatever the research papers are available that you choose, and you can write your literature survey. Okay, so how to write this literature survey part, that we are going to see in the coming chapter, right? It is one chapter is totally dedicated to literature survey, right? So in that way, how to write literature survey, that I'll explain you in that session. Okay, fine. The next is the formulation of hypothesis. I think hypothesis I've explained you so many times, like it is some assumptions that we have to make and some predictions, scientifically reasonable hypothesis are scientifically reasonable predictions. So whether this hypothesis is correct or fail, that actually has been decided by the your the data that you're collecting, maybe right after analysis, the availability of the data. Based on that, the hypothesis can be checked whether your hypothesis is correct or not, right? To formulate the hypothesis, researchers should acquire enough knowledge in the topic. Okay, so deep insights about the problem. So these are things that the hypothesis needs to be tested, right? Whether uh, using some testing techniques are also there in the hypothesis. So different types of hypothesis also there. That again has a separate topic in the chapter 2. The hypothesis, different types of hypothesis, like how they are going to be tested, right? That we are going to see. So there are different methodologies to test the hypothesis. Okay, hypothesis, like I said, it's a prediction or some assumptions, right? And it can be either collected after the survey of literature review or relevant literature, right? After so many ebooks, and after ebooks or whatever the data that you're collecting, based on that, that has been done only after this. Hypothesis can be prepared only after this, and we have to formulate this, means we have to specify what are your questions. Okay, what are your assumptions. Based on that literature review, you are preparing your assumptions, and after that you are testing your hypothesis also, right? Using some testing methodology, right? So that again in depth, if you have to see this formulation of hypothesis and what is an hypothesis, what are different types of hypothesis, that is again our next chapter that we're going to see. Okay, so in generally what we have seen is, first of all, you have to, first step is what, selection of research topic, defining the problem. Yeah, then second step is you have to do some rigorous literature review, then formulation of hypothesis, make some assumptions. The important one is, again, this is the research design. Okay, I think we'll be disconnect in 4 minutes. Okay, fine. So now if you'll see this research designing, what is actually research design is, research design, you can say in short, the overall structure of the research, it comes under the research design. Okay, so in the structure, generally structure consists of the title, maybe how much time it will take to complete the project, your research project, right? What is the problem, what is an objective. The research design consists of some headers, like what is the costing, right? So this research design as a sample template, I think I'm having. This is not actually shared on the portal, just I took it today only. So this type of research design, okay, this is a sample research design that I found out. The title, like what is the title? Simulation and experimental analysis of used some mechanical field research problem is a pyrolysis system. Design, simulate and test pyrolysis system. Methodology, expected result is required, budget required, time required, and constraints. So this is just a structure of your research work, a sample structure for your research work. So when you prepare your research proposals, in that obviously you should design you should give your research design. That this will help this will help the the committee, the review committee, to identify your research work in very short. Okay. So this is the fourth step that in the research process to design your research, that research design. So a scientific research one has to prepare research design. So like I said, a research design is nothing but the overall structure of the research, and it generally focuses on the type of study plan, what kind of results are expected from the research, and what are your base. It is actually based on your research questions. When you start with the research works, you have to specify some research questions, right? What are the existing methodologies? uh, what are the different techniques, existing techniques are there? Based on that, you have to prepare your research design. Okay. Then the last step is the results and conclusion. Okay. I think we'll be disconnected in 2 minutes, right? So again we'll reconnect, and we'll finish this results and conclusion, and one more topic is science and technology. So we'll reconnect in just 2 minutes, okay? 2 or 3 minutes, right? And meanwhile, you can just start preparing your questions, like just prepare your questions so that you can post it in the chat, okay? So I'll just disconnect and I'll reconnect in 2 minutes, right? Okay, so just will continue with the research process. So what we have covered is the first is the research process is selection of the research topic and defining the problem, literature survey, then formulation of hypothesis, then research design, then we have results and conclusion in the research process. So just remember these 5 steps in the research process. Okay. So conclusion is based on your study performed. Okay. So whatever the conclusion after your research study, and whatever the things that you have done in during this your research period, and all things based on that you have to provide some conclusions. Okay. So utility of the outcome, or you can say the result is totally rely on the proper interpretations. So like I said, once you collected the data and your proper analysis has been done, so based on that data, what interpretations after based on that data and some experimental analysis, what are the interpretations that are there? You have to specify in the conclusions. Okay. So results and conclusions generally includes what are the maybe like for example some people are working on the improving the accuracy of a specific model. So what is expected in the result part? What is the percentage of accuracies? Maybe 72, 82, 90, 200. Like in that way, this should be come into the result section. And based on that interpretation, what conclusions you can give, right? In order to improve the accuracy, we need to add some additional attributes. Maybe you need to include some attributes to improve the performance of the model. Like that, you can specify the conclusion. Okay. So interpretation of the results is important. Why it is important? Because it links the present work to the previous. Okay. So whoever done some previous work, like previously accuracy of that model was 72%. So somebody those who have worked on some in that particular area, right? So they found that this model can be the performance of this model can be increased by including some attributes, and by including the attributes and by using some modification or customization in the algorithms or models, we can increase the accuracy of that particular thing, right? So in that way you have to just link that particular work with the previous one. It leads to identification of future problems. Like I said, your research work, whatever the accuracy you got, maybe it will be an input to the further researchers, right? Further problems, right? Opens a new avenues of intellectual adventure and stimulates the quest of more knowledge, right? Again, it will create a new things. It will create the more knowledge about that particular area. Okay, then it will help to understand the significance of the research findings and often suggest a possible experimental verification, right? If we'll follow a proper the methods for finding, right? If you're getting some results, right, maybe some in the forms of performance or accuracies, that experimental verification will give you more importance to the people, those who are involved in that particular area. Okay, so like maybe your thesis would be used as a reference in the another's researcher, right? So that value must be given to the researcher once he has done some finished with his uh, the results, whatever the findings that he has found during his research work. Okay, then at each and every statement made in the result conclusion section must be based on the evidences. Yes, result and conclusions are very important because most of the reviewers, they are checking your results and conclusion whether it is conclusive or not, right? So it requires an evidence, proper proof, right, obtained in the forms of theoretical experimental analysis. Whatever the experiment you have done, whatever the analysis you have done, theoretical analysis you have done, based on that, whatever the results is that has to be mentioned in the result section and conclusion section. Okay, fine. So this is all about the research process. Okay, so when you start with your research, I think what I said is you have to now decide your topic. First, to identify your interest area. Okay, find out your interest area and interesting topic. Whatever the interest area first means, like I told you about the different courses, like software engineering is course, image processing is one of the course, data mining is one of the course, right? Machine learning, maybe e-learning is one. E-learning is also one of the area. First, put yourself like in this particular, identify which is your most interesting area of your research work, right? Like maybe if you're interested in e-learning, so in e-learning, what you can do, right, for the which has not been done in this Ethiopia, right? So based on that, you can start finding out your first the topic, right? Then you can follow this process, right, step by step. The next, the remaining part of this topic is the science and technology. Just a difference, like what is the science and technology? I think these things you've already maybe have discussed these things in the during your previous you can say the classes, or maybe some during some research discussions and all this. You'll find this research and science and technology. Okay, so what is the primary aim of science is to collect the facts, data. Okay, right, if you see the description of the science, it's a systematic observation of natural events, conditions in order to discover facts, right? So here the primary objective of science is to discover the facts, right? The organized body of knowledge that is derived from such observations and that can be verified or tested by further investigation. Okay, any specific branch of this body knowledge, such as biology, physics, geology, astronomy, so many areas now science is there. But now the researchers are using both science and technology together to get some observations, or to get some results. Okay, so here it is not like a differentiating which one should I use, science or technology should I use. It is not like that nowadays in the research. It is combinedly how science and technology combinedly can be used to solve a particular problem. Okay, so science can use some laws, some laws are there. Science generally means, some laws are there, some Albert Einstein's law, maybe this law, Newton's law. These are all part of science, right? But technology is different. Technology is generally focuses on the techniques or the rules that you are applying to solve the particular problem. Okay, so here we are using some laws, or here we are using some technology or techniques, or we can say rules to solve the problems, right? So science generally focuses on collecting the facts or data. Okay, uh, so One sec, I think technology part. So technology is like, to which generally human beings are using to meet their needs and wants. Generally, like I said, it is a technique, right? That it can be used to solve the problems immediately, right? So technology has been used to some techniques or some rules to solve the problems, fine. Now, like you see the last statement, often science and technology appears together, right? Referring to advanced technology based on new scientific principles. It means science and technology both combinedly can be used to solve the problems nowadays. Okay. So what are the differences that you'll find in the science and technology, right? So objectives of the science are unchangeable. Technology can be changed, right? Like if you see the technologies are continuously changing year by year, not yearly, maybe in few months if you'll see the latest technology, it could be anything. New technologies are coming into the market. But science is unchangeable. Some laws are not changeable. If you define some law with proper proofs and evidences, you can you can say that this particular laws can be used, right? I think you see that type of results are your laws like statements, your rule like statements. Okay, and science is always a long term. It is never like it is not changeable means long term. It can be used for the research work. Technology can be used for short term, right? I'll just give you one example. During my research work, some of the researchers are using SPSS tool. I think now also they are using SPSS. But now the latest, more additional analytical tools are there that can be used for analysis, right? The open source tools are coming into the market. So here technologies are continuously changing, and the tools and technologies are changing, right? Uh, So method that we're using in the science is abstraction. Abstraction means what? Abstractions means like combining couple of most of the things to get an abstract solution, right? Abstract, or you can say abstract statement. For example, I'll just give an example, a technical example for abstraction. If I think you know about the different colors, red, green, and blue. Now, I don't know if you have observed these things. When you mix these three colors with some quantity, you may get different colors, right? But it is not like only one color you will get. You may get different colors if you change the quantity of the colors, right? If you put red color more, then other two colors less. If in that way, you'll find so many colors. What does it mean? Abstraction means you don't know exactly what results you are getting after using these things. RGB means red, green, blue. We are using these things. We have these three things fixed. This is not changeable. But after using this, what colors you are getting, that is an abstraction. That is an abstract thing. Okay. I think in object oriented also you people have learned about the abstraction. You're using your class is an abstract, right? The methods and the variables that you're using as a class is an abstract. Private means that variables cannot be used by the methods from the other class. So that class can be an abstract, right? Then modeling concrete complex in technology. Obviously, we are using some complex algorithms, complex coding, right? To in order to uh, implement these things, right? Then process is conceptualization in the science, and here optimization. Obviously, technology can be used to optimize the things, right? And here we are just simply using the concept in the science. An innovation form is science is the discovery. See, once the laws are fixed, right? You have to create new things can be only created by discovery, right? Discovery word itself has a very big meaning. Discovery means if you're creating something is innovative, no previous background work on that, it is a discovery. But technology is an invention, right? Technology is an invention. So invention means like you have to use some previous things and all these things. and create a new innovative thing, right? Then type of result I discussed, there are some laws in the science, here in technology, some rules that can be used for uh, in in the technology, right? Time perspective is long term, and in the technology it is short term. I think this is very clear to the researchers, those who work in different areas, that technology and science can be combinedly used. Right? So that can be used, both can be used combinedly in order to fulfill some specific objectives, some major objectives, some type of primary objectives. Like, so there's so many things that can be uh, developed by using both these things. Okay, fine. So I think this is all about the first chapter, part two, that is introduction of research, part two, that we have finished, the research process and about the science and technology. Just I wanted to show you my, I think most of you have seen or no, I don't know, but I just wanted to show you my some research things that I've done in some of the research papers that I worked on. Okay, just hold on. And meanwhile, you can just post your questions also, no problem. And yes, start giving the attendance also. I think most of you missed last time. You can start giving the attendance also. No problem. Okay, I'll just wanted to share you my some the research work that I done, research papers I've published. Okay. Uh, okay, so I think wait, I'll just share my screen. Okay, so this is my site actually. This is my site. I think for some of you know this my site. This is my personal website. Okay, this is my personal website, and in that I just created some menus. This is actually developed in WordPress.com. I think most of you know about the WordPress. In fact, you people can also create your website, free website. It is not required anything, just a free hosting. So just create a, but it always ends with WordPress.com if it is free. But if you'll pay them, they'll give you a proper, no need of providing this WordPress.com in that way. So this is my site. In that, there's all the menus that I created, the work that has been there. So just wanted to show my this research tab. What is there in my research menu? These are the recent papers that I published. In fact, I'm working on some couple of more research papers, research areas, different research areas. This is one of my paper. If you click it, it will open. It will open my research paper actually. Wherever I published, it is published in some Scopus Index publication. So if you find this, this is my research paper, having some co-authors also. Okay, and this is my research area. Now, what I did in this research is I've used some M-learning for promoting advancements in agriculture, right? Generally for Ethiopian farmers. This is one of the research paper that I published. Okay. Then another one is finding, exploring ICT models. So see, my research interest is always changed into the different domain. Initially, I started with some software estimation, right? Estimation techniques, agile project management. agile lean development, right? Up to this I've started using, then I move towards some e-learning part, enhancing empirical approach in teaching learning using ICT. So if you click on this, it will open some my research papers, right? And these all are published. If you click on this, it will directly redirect to your the website, open source journals where I published this. Okay, and these are some conferences where I presented my paper. Recently, I presented in Bullehora University in Ethiopia. Recently, I published one of the paper, that is feedback analysis using KNN based classifier for performance prediction of students. So you can refer this website, or if you want, you can go through other websites also. Not, I'm not forcing you to use this website only for your for your research work and all. These are just the papers that I published, research papers. But you people have to prepare some. You have to do some, prepare some proposals here. I think so in the masters. So just for your interest area, like if you are interested in this e-learning and all, ICT, e-learning with machine learning, those who are interested, they can refer my papers. They can start just focus on decide your which area, in which area you want to do your research work. Okay. Then about my course portfolio menu, which courses I am teaching, right? There's some Genome websites that I've created. Okay. I think you browse this website. This is my Google Scholar citations. You click on this, it will show my citations, overall citations. These are my papers, right? Second citations are there, 42 citations. Okay, right. So this is all about this is my website. You can refer that. In fact, you people can create your own websites like this. It's free. Okay. Now, some of the workshops that I've attended, some certifications I'm having. Okay, there's some cloud certification I did, some programming Java certifications. Right? So you can obviously you can go for that. Right? So I'm not just forcing you to just check it, but it's just I'm showing you about my research work. So how you can write the papers and all these things, so you can refer that my website for writing the papers. Or if you have a good knowledge about like how to write research papers, obviously you can use your skills to write a good research papers in a specific area. Okay. Fine. So yeah, if you have any questions, please you can start sharing. Okay, so if you have any doubts, please you can share. Okay, so Ahmad is asking, still I didn't differentiate. Okay. Still, where is that? Okay. Oh, there's a question. Still I didn't differentiate research paper, project, article, journal, and thesis. See, research paper are actually, if you'll refer my site, in that some research papers are there. Okay. These research papers we have to publish in the journals. Okay. It could be an open access journal, right? It could be some paid journals, some peer reviewed journals, right? So research papers are the papers, research papers, simple normal papers, 3 to 4 papers, depending upon where you're publishing. Like for example, if you're publishing in some very high Scopus index papers, if in a high Scopus index journals, so that Scopus index journals may have 10 papers. Like for example, if you're publishing in the Springer, Springer is one of the organization where they provides you to they always publish their journals. Volume journal has having some volumes, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, in that way. So in that journals we are publishing our research paper. Okay. Now articles and papers have some similarities, research paper and articles, right? Generally people are saying it's a research article, but articles are generally when you're publishing in some short description about your research work in some let's say some online magazines are there, right? Some reputed organizations some journals are there, right? So in that you're presenting your article in a very short way. Okay, right? So research article and research paper having some similarities. How to write an article, having articles may have different types of structure, right? Writing paper, but research paper have some common headers like abstract, right? Introduction, then we have methodology, literature review, having some kind of differentiation. Okay. Now coming to the point for project. Now for research project, initially you require first a proposal. You have to prepare a research proposal with the headers required, like the title, objective, the research designing that I've explained you today. Okay. The methodology that you're going to use, how much time period, cost of budget, and all these things are required in the proposal. That proposal you have to first submit to the organization, right? Or maybe wherever you're working, and then they'll provide you some funding based on it, right? That is called as a research project. Okay. Once you start with this research work, that is a research project. It is also uh, it is also called as a master, or you can say the thesis. Project and thesis having some similarities, but most of the headers are not there in the project and the thesis. Like projects having some different, and thesis having some similar headers, but thesis involves so many additional headers. Okay, not only research design and all things, but it requires some more headers in the thesis, right? So research project is like something you got the funding, right? You got the funding, and thesis is nothing but you're documenting the things. Your project, whatever you have done, based on that, you're writing your thesis. Okay, thesis is just a document on which you're writing your overall research, like the what are the methodology and all these things, how you have finished your work, conclusion, research, and all these things. Okay, so project and thesis are you can say they're combined, right? Project means you have to do some research work, and in thesis you have to write that things in the thesis. An article and research paper, they are also similar, but articles can be published in some of the specific organizations, review, some magazines are there, in that also you can publish, but research papers can be published on the journals. Okay, so journal is something different. Journals having some volumes, right? Volume 1, volume 2, in that way. So in that you're publishing the research paper. Okay, I hope I have answered your question, Ahmed. If you're still having problems, can tell me. Okay. Actually, national level, even I don't know about the national level, but international level, you can browse it. You will find so many organizations that publish freely. But to publish freely, I think your article must be very, very impactful, right? So you can just if I'll find some free international organizations that publish your research work, of course I'll share you. But see, one important thing is when you publish your research article, the next level is you'll find so many other research organizations that those are finding interest in your research work. So once you publish it in some, let's say on the our institutional portal, or let's say in the university portal, or maybe in the ministries, maybe some research uh, repositories are there. When people are looking for for some research work, when they find your research article, right, automatically they'll send you some mail and something, some they'll communicate with you to collaborate with us, right? To collaborate with us to for the further enhancement in your research work, right? So if the organizations find your research work is very helpful, they'll approach you, right? There is no need to approach you, right, directly to the organizations, right? They'll approach you if they'll find that research work has been published in the university portal, it's published somewhere in the organization's portal, then other organizations are directly coming to you to collaborate with you for further enhancements in the solutions or the whatever the things research work that you have done. Okay, but national level I don't national level organizations I don't know where but you can use some ResearchGate, academia, where you can just put your abstract, just like what work you have done. Privately access is there, just mention it privately. In that it will show you only abstract to the other people. Okay, so once they read your abstract, so they'll find it your research work is related to their relevant and their related to their work. So they'll request you, they'll send you request, can you please send your overall work. So obviously they'll, then you can make it public for that particular person, right? So whoever is interested, you can share. So nowadays the portal ResearchGate, academia, these websites, because they are working for some organizations only, they'll help you to explore your research area. Okay, I hope I've answered your question, Ahmed. It's Ahmed's question only. Okay, okay, is it Ahmed's? Okay, Ahmed only that. Okay, any other questions? I think Ahmed is finding interesting only. And other people are not asking anything. Okay. Yeah, Fentawi is asking something. Doctor, what contents include research from starting to end? Okay, that proposal format I'll share with you definitely, because in the as a master students, what are the things that you have to include? The content, the header section, that of course I'll share you. But the process will be same, right? The process today that I've explained you. First, what I'm trying to say is first identify your interesting area. Okay, interest area means your like I said, my area of interest was software engineering. Okay, so like you decide which area you want to work. Do step by step. Don't do all the things at a time. When you do step by step, this will be really helpful for your you know for uh, for step by step. When you finish your work, you'll find it very easy to explain your research work in front of the reviewer committee or whoever the people are in front of you. So do it very step by step, and do it very start with a smaller scale, right? First identify your area, then when you read some related, start reading some papers related to that area, right? Maybe if you start with the let e-learning, right? You let's say e-learning is your interesting area. So in e-learning, what are the loopholes, what are the problems, right? I think in most of the Ethiopian universities now, most of them have started e-learning. But do you think some problems in the e-learning, how you can solve that problem, right? So you have to identify that problem, and you have to keep reading those things. What solution has been given in the research papers, existing research papers, those have already published. What solutions have been given? Now, let's say that solution has been implemented in some other country. Let's say it has been implemented in the USA, this solution, but whether it is feasible to implement same solution in Ethiopia, right? These questions automatically comes, right? So in that way, you have to start your work from very low scale to high scale. Okay. I hope you answered. I answered your question, Fanting. Then okay, some people are joining. Sorry, I have not admitted all. Wait a minute, some questions. How to review article? Review the articles. First of all, find out the recent article, right? Recent means, like I told you, 4 to 5 years back, right? Read that articles, identify, just highlight the important points in what has been, just read their conclusions and then abstract what work they have done, right? So when you read that articles, identify which is the important point that is required for your research, right? Which is very important. And what are the solutions they have given? Maybe you can prepare one table, right? In which year this paper has been published, name of the paper, what are the conclusion he has given, what are the methodology he has given. So you can prepare one table. That will be the better option to review the article. Okay. What question is one more question? Hassan is asking, Doctor, how can I first choose and write a research paper? Before writing research paper, like I said again, you have to find out your research area, which interesting area is there, right? Identify the research area, then again can start. Then find out the research papers based on that research area. Then find out the problems in that papers. What are the actual problems coming to the this people? Make the literature review and all that. Right. So first thing is find out your research topic, research title, and all this based on your research interest area. What is the difference between project, research, thesis, articles? I've explained you. I think so. You can just see this video again after uploading. I explained it to Ahmed. Okay. What is the main characteristics of an effective research paper? The main characteristics are the literature review that you have done. Okay. First. Second, what are the experiments you have performed? What methodology you have used? Okay. In the research paper, the experiment that you have used and how you have presented the result. These are the some effective characteristics, right? Characteristics of an effective research paper also include the way you are writing your, the English, right? The English words are also very important. How you are explaining the, you can say the vocabulary must be very good for writing the research paper. Two or three two or three words can be combined into one word also. That is by a good vocabulary. Okay, so if you have a good word power, right, that paper is becomes very effective. Okay, and other than that, when you're explaining the things in a technical manner, as you are a technical students, so more technical words will really create an impact on your paper. Okay. Yeah, is that possible to do our research from outside the ICT? Now, presently, as ICT students, you have to focus on this ICT area only. Yes, yes. See, it is not like, of course, when you find any problem, social problems, you can give some ICT based solution for it. Okay. Maybe problem is outside the ICT, right? Just like, for example, I think I gave you during the exam, during the session, that some social problems are there, right? In some areas, some cities, some diseases are spreading, some diseases are continuously spreading. What are the parameters are there? What are the reason of this diseases? If you have that data collected with you, initially you start with all data collection and these things, but the analysis part and all the experimentation part, that if you'll use some ICT based solution, maybe you can use some statistical and mathematical solution, that will be a that will do actually. Okay. Yes. Okay. Please upload necessary files in the portal and work sample research. Yes, of course, I'll do that. But first, you people just try to identify your problems, like research problems, right? What is the problem? The same thing I'm telling again. Just find out your topics. Okay. Of course, I'll upload. Fine. I think I've answered some of the most of the questions. If any questions are there, you can obviously share on my email. Okay. Fine. So I think we'll stop. Those who have not given the attendance, you can just share your attendance. Give your attendance. Yes. Those who have not given the attendance, please give your attendance. Okay, so we have just 1 minute, was less than 1 minute left. Okay, so it will be disconnect automatically. Okay, so it will disconnect in 1 minute. Okay, thank you all. I'm just closing the session.